so today we're going to talk a little bit about oil. I'm not going to go into great detail about this because I want the video to be short and sweet. So if you have any questions, something I don't cover on here, just email me. Okay, so American oils typically are refined vegetable oils that begin in the seed stage, and then they extract the oils from the seeds. Polyunsaturated fat basically means that they are fluid versus solid. So American vegetable oils are going to be polyunsaturated typically, unless they go through another process like think of Crisco or vegetable shortening. So anyway, let's talk specifically about polyunsaturated vegetable oil, which is corn oil, canola, rapeseed, all the same thing. That's the most common. Then there's vegetable oil, which is a blend typically of palm, corn, soybean, sunflower oils. They can have a varying additives of all of those. Soybean oil is also another popular one. Sunflower oil, safflower oil, and then also peanut oil, less popular, but it is still a vegetable oil. So let's talk about these oils, why we want to not eat those anymore. When you eat out in a restaurant, you are absolutely consuming vegetable oils. So as a rule of thumb, eating out in a restaurant falls into the 20% bad category versus 80% good category, which is what we're striving for. So we're not talking about restaurant food here. We're talking about when you cook at home, because the more you can do at home to prevent cooking with the stuff every single day, the better off you'll be. Because when you think about something you're exposed to repeatedly versus one night a week or every now and then, big differences there. So let's talk about the mechanical process really quick and why we want to avoid refined vegetable oils. So they do go through a process in America. 99.9% of traditional oils you'll find on a shelf at any major grocery store are going to be highly intensive, mechanically processed, chemical processed. So basically what that means is they use chemicals to extract the oil from the seed because it yields the most. So you can use a process called pressing, and we'll get to that later. That doesn't yield the highest quantity of oil out of each seed, so they usually will use chemicals. So they also use a chemical mainly called HEXANE. And so then when they're done extracting the oil from the seed, they have to then heat the oil to extremely high temperatures to rid the oil of hexane. So these are things we're consuming on a regular basis. All of these things contribute to inflammation. Byproduct of inflammation is weight gain, which is why we're talking, right? So when you heat the high temperatures to those really high, oils to those really high temperatures, you basically are removing all of the nutrients that come from the seed oil. So it basically makes it all bad for you. There's absolutely nothing left. So these oils that have been heated to these high temps, they oxidize easily. And so basically that is one of the major reasons why we want to avoid them, because it goes into the body and it creates this free radical situation going on. Free radicals cause cancer. All these things, it's like a domino effect. You set off one, it hits another one, another one, another one, another one. This is one of the dominoes, but this is a big domino. This is quite possibly the starting domino, which is why we're starting with fixing the oils at home. So remember, hydrogenated oils make them solid at room temperature, which is why we're all avoiding all hydrogenated oils. Think margarine, think Crisco, shortening, things like that. We're all trying to avoid those anyway, so we're not even going to talk about those. Just please avoid those altogether. Because it continues to damage the fat even and alters the fatty acids altogether. So we just don't even want to eat those at all. So I'm talking deep fried food at a restaurant especially. So expeller press, let's talk about that really quickly. So you've got this big, choice at the market. You've got really bad stuff, which we've just covered. We've just talked about that. And then you've got this medium choice. And then you've got the best choice. So this is the bad choice we're going to avoid altogether, what we've just talked about. Let's talk about the medium choice. This is a use sparingly when necessary choice. Like, for instance, some of the occasions that we will use the medium choice at our house is like when you're making popcorn. you have to heat the oil to a super high temperature, so it's going to make the good choice bad anyway. So you might as well use the oil that has a higher smoke point, okay? So that's really like one of the only times that we use this. But there is a canola oil out there you can buy. And I'm not saying you have to go to Whole Foods to get this one, but this canola oil is, first of all, oh, wait, let me back it up. The GMO that we're going to talk a lot about applies here in that all corn, canola, rapeseed are GMOs. Just write that down in black permanent marker in the brain. Canola oil is GMO. The other one is soybean oil. Almost always GMO. 98% of soybeans in America are GMO. So unless you're buying organic soybean oil, it's going to be GMO, which we want to avoid. And then all vegetable oil blends are going to contain at least a little bit of corn and soybeans, so those are also GMO. So let's just get that out there right now. All GMO oil we want to avoid. So this is canola oil. And so typically it would be GMO, but it's not because I have this little non-GMO project verified sticker. Let me see if I can get that in there. That right there is what you want to look for. This is the most reputable company out there. They have to go through actually a pretty significant screening before they can get this label. It has a backlog wait list for companies to get on it. It's highly expensive. They actually go to the factories. They actually do run chemical tests on the foods to make sure that they don't contain any of the GMO Roundup Ready corn plants in this scenario. So this is not a super high temp oil because it is expeller pressed. So you wouldn't want to put it in a 500-degree oven or even a 400-degree oven for that matter. So if you turn it around, the ingredients here, which we want to talk about, is expeller pressed canola oil. So that's why that is a medium choice. It is the best type of canola oil you can buy. It is expeller pressed, non-GMO canola oil. So if you must use it, you can use that. But that's not something we want to use on a daily basis. The things that we are allowed to use on a daily basis that we can feel good about. The biggest one, my favorite one, is avocado oil. This one's almost gone, so you'll have to excuse the oil drips all over it. But avocado oil is actually, obviously anything in high quantity is not going to be really good for you. But to cook, this is probably a better choice. So it does have a high heat, which means a high smoke point, and a high rancid point. So a lot of times when you heat oil, it changes the molecular structure of the fatty acids, which then makes it rancid. You'll hear that term a lot going forward. So you want to avoid making an oil rancid because then you're going to have the free radical damage in the body. So this is also non-GMO project verified. Avocados, to my knowledge, are not GMO, and I've studied it extensively, so I'm not really sure why they would do that. Maybe it's just a tactic to get people to buy it. I don't know. Anyway, the ingredients, very simply, avocado oil. That's what you want to look for. You don't want anything else in this ingredients list. So this is oil, I think it is, 500 degrees temperature. So this is a good high smoke point, all-purpose cooking oil. By the way, I got this at Costco. It was like 10 bucks. Okay, another one is coconut oil. I'm sure we've all heard coconut oil, blah, blah, blah. So this falls in the fad category. Don't go crazy. I think that people are overestimating its health benefits. I think that people are underestimating the damage that saturated fat can cause, especially when you combine it with a high-carb diet. We'll talk a lot about that later, so this is used sparingly. I do use it when I want the sweet flavor on something. Like I've used it to roast sweet potatoes, and it came out really well. Okay, another one, same category as the coconut oil, use sparingly. Clarified butter, also known as ghee. Basically what this means from a cooking standpoint is that you can heat it higher temperature than grass-fed organic butter, which is also a fine alternative. Just don't cook with it because you can't heat it. Once you heat it, you change the molecular structure of the fatty acids, and then it's no longer a better choice. So ghee, on the other hand, the proteins have been removed. It's been clarified. You can heat it to a high temperature and it can withstand it. And I'm not sure what the smoke point is on this, but medium, high cooking is fine. Now, let's talk about olive oil really quick. Olive oil, great choice. Try not to heat it really hot and cook with it because, again, it does go rancid. So olive oil is great for salad dressings. Using it cold, sparingly if you're going to heat it, and typically just a medium high on the stove saute, okay? So avocado oil, clarified butter, which is called ghee, coconut oil, and sparingly at very minimal non-GMO canola oil with no other added ingredients, and better is expeller pressed. Okay, got it? Hopefully you were taking notes. Okay, quickly, we're gonna go over sprays. Now, as a rule of thumb, I avoid soy. And this is one of those things that's really hard to avoid soy in. So I've got 3 different kinds here that I use. The first one is just a basic olive oil spray from Trader Joe's, very inexpensive. It does contain soy lecithin and propellant. So this is not my go-to. I do use it when I, eggs, I'll use it sometimes for eggs, and just when I need a really small, slight coating and I'm cooking something for just a minute. Coconut oil. If you can find one without, which I found it before at Whole Foods, by the way, you can find one without the soy, I say go for it. If you don't mind the flavor, sometimes it can make things taste like coconut. So back to canola oil. Here we go again, sparingly. You don't want to spray your vegetables directly with this. You don't want to spray your vegetables with any of this. But for a pan, you're going to do a quick coating of it. Canola oil, USDA organic. If anything is labeled organic, it is non-GMO. It cannot be GMO and labeled organic. So if it's organic, you're fine. This one is spray canola oil with the ingredients organic, expeller, pressed canola oil. So there's no soy in this one. So this is the one I go to the most. Even though it's a medium choice on the other cooking oils, it's my first choice on the spray oils. Hopefully all this is making sense and I'm not confusing the crap out of you. If you have any questions whatsoever, let me know. But as a basic rule, this is it. Outside of this, you really just don't want to go cooking with anything. If you're ever at the store and you have a question, text me a picture of the ingredient label or the front label and I can help you make the choice. So anyway, that's it. Good luck.